Running. Okay, cool. That's running. Let's get the chat up. So anyone else, I'll read it. If you put things in the chat, I can read them out if you're feeling you'd rather do it that way. I'm going to share the screen now. So I'm going to share the screen. Here we go. Okay. Click on the 3x3 matrix on the webcams and you can reshape them so you can see everybody on the right. All right, I can see you all, I think. So let's get underway. So welcome to the webinar, How to Help Others Transmute Their Karma into the Gifts of Service. We're going to talk about the soul contract reading work and training. I'm Nicolas Ngan of the Center for Conscious Ascension. And I will sort of give the standard intro for the guys who are going to watch this on YouTube. Then we'll get into a more connected personal approach. So have you noticed how people turn away from the biggest karmic challenges they face in their lives? That was me most of my life, until I started to wake up spiritually. And no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't face the stuff. Still happens today, as I definitely lack the spiritual map of life to overcome them. So this webinar is about how to identify those core karmic patterns and how to go about transmuting them. I'm just going to turn my phone down. I realized I left it switched on here, the sound. Just a second. So that they can deliver their gift of service, that special thing we as light workers have been looking for our entire lives. So why are we here? Well, ever since I had a soul contract reading with the founder of this work, Frank Alpha, he called it the spiritual numerology of Moses in 1990, actually, in Phoenix. I'd gone to one of his spiritual workshops, the Carousel of Growth. That 1 hour reading completely changed my life. And I said to him, I'd really like to learn how to do this. And so he said, well, we're going to run the training in level 2 training in the Carousel of Growth in 6 weeks' time. So I'm going to teach it then. So I stuck around in America for 6 weeks and went to that training, and it was so profound. I felt I needed to share it with as many people as possible. So I brought it to England and later that year. And so 30 odd years, I'm still doing this. It's one of my, I have a great passion for this work, which I'm here to share with you so that it can free you, and some of those of you who are thinking of learning how to do this work can free others from the unconscious programming of the ego formed by the soul contract and access and manifest that gift of service. So I'm very lucky. I do what I love to do now. I used to work in the corporate world about 25 years ago and I escaped. I'm very fortunate to be able to share this. So I get up in the morning and look forward to helping other people. So that's why I'm here. So I'd like to hear why you guys are here. So those of you on video, you just wave at me, really a big airport wave like this, not a little one like this, a big one. Okay, so I don't miss you. Okay, and then just say your name, where you are, and what brought you here, because I'd like to hear your intention of what you need from this, because that'll formulate the way I deliver the webinar. It's different every time when we do this. Okay. And then we'll just take it from there, and it could go any way you guys want. It's your webinar, okay? So it's not a fixed process we do here. There'll be some standard things I cover, but it just depends on what you want to know. Okay, so you guys have just arrived. Oh yeah, they're arriving. Okay. All right. So who would like to start?
I'll start.
Yeah. Robin, where are you?
Hi, I was introduced to your work on Gaia, and your name came up again with a friend who's trained with you named Renee Boyd.
Yeah.
And Renee turned me on to the soul contract reading when I was doing work in Akashic Records. And as I got familiar with the book, I kind of went through it in 2 days. And I began doing the soul contract reading, but I wasn't really clear on how to put it together.
Yeah.
So it kind of seemed like it was in parts where I had part understanding, but I felt like I understood my soul contract to a certain degree when I read it, but I still kind of didn't understand the connection of how to turn the karma into gifts of service and how to help translate that for others where they didn't just focus on the karmic aspect of their soul contract reading so heavily. So that was the reason that brought me here today, just to kind of clarify some understanding after working with the book and kind of preparing me to be able to share it with others. That's really what I hope to get.
Okay. Yeah, the book is a subset of the level 1 training, because I was guided to write the book it was really a light worker's guide to how it works on Earth, the one I would have liked to have when I was waking up in my 20s, which I had no idea what was going on or what I was doing. So I wrote it for you guys to help you on your missions. So ultimately I wrote it for me 30, 40 years ago. So the book is very powerful, and the average read time is 24 to 48 hours. When people realize what it is, they can find out everything about themselves, as you found, Robin. And there's only so much you can put in a book in that format. So in order to share it a lot of people give readings from the book and give good ones. But what we do if you feel the urge to come on the training, is that we give you the full bodily transmission of how this works. So most people are thinking they have to learn it, but this is about becoming it. That's what we do when we train you in this. You become it. So then you don't have to remember anything. I know it may seem a bit strange, but that's how it works. We spend 3 days transmitting the numbers, so you will witness your fellow classmates discussing the intricacies of a karmic 9, the horrific stuff they've been through, or the delightful stuff of other numbers. And we talk about, and they'll tell you what it's like, and you'll never forget that, because it's going to go into your DNA and your energy fields. So you're being programmed for the first 3 days with the work. And so we're not worried about your left brain here, but everyone who's attracted is always wanting to find structure with 11, 2s and 5s and truth. And then we teach you how to hold space, the bit you're interested in, Robin. We teach you how to hold space to transmit through opening your intuitive channel and we connect you with your soul contract reading guidance team, so you can deliver to that person exactly what they need to hear in that moment. And it's about, we teach you how to get out of your own way and flow with the structure of the work, so they hear the transmission of what they need to know, and their life will be transformed. It'll probably be one of the most significant moments in their life, other than, I don't know, getting married or having the kids. It's right up there when someone hears one of these, as you guys know. So that's what we do on the training. So we turn the book from a 2D to a 3D, really powerful process. So you are becoming it, or you have become it by the end of the training, or end of the higher levels of the training, depends how fast you progress. So you can deliver the gift that you got from the book to others, and see their lights go on everything, every part of their life. That's what we actually do. So yeah, this is how we do this, to awaken people to the truth of their life. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. Who's next? Because some of you guys have been a few times, so you're the brave souls. So we're up on. Okay.
Yeah, in the meantime, no one, sir. Yeah, I went here second time, and so happy to be connect with the soul family, and it's ignite my passion. Yes, I took the training level 1, and I start reading couple people, quite a lot of people too. I mean, it's very powerful training, because it's, as you said, it's also we have to listen to the sound and also do the meditation for each sound of the number. That is different from the book, but the book is also very profound. So combination is the best. And for me, I want to share, because when I read some of people in the in the session, that didn't very like much, but then couple months later I talked to them, that totally changed, like vibration change to higher, like different dimension. I feel like, yeah, it's really spoke to that soul. The reading is not just a personality, it's like break down the personality and come to their soul, and they start to have passion to follow their soul mission. In the past, they would say, oh, I want to get out from the earth, or there's just in this material world, but now they start to realize they have spirit world, and that is make me cry with joy. I'm super excited for next level 2. But yeah, I'm happy to share my experience. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you, Warapon. Okay. All right. Who's next? Would like to share why they're here? And okay, Rosemary. Can you drop the camera down a little bit, because we're only seeing the top of your head? Yeah, that's better. I can see you now. Thanks. Oh, you're very quiet. You're very quiet. It sounds, yeah, bring the microphone down.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So I came across your work on YouTube, actually, where you were talking about your book and how you're breaking it down. And coincidence, I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but I was doing some divine healing work with, as a matter of fact, she's one of your students. And my question has always been, what am I doing here? What's my purpose? And something that I am looking forward to finding out.
Yeah, that's the biggest question we as light workers have, because we deliberately forget who we are, that we're a spark of the divine, and wake up here on earth thinking, what's going on here? How did I get here? This is a pretty crazy, dysfunctional place. And the idea is to awaken and eventually satisfy that deep urge to find out the true purpose in life. They're all spiritual missions, something you don't get from all the different sources of the matrix, like work, education, parents, family. No one really knows, because how can they know? Because you're the only one who's going to find out, and it's actually inside you. And this is what this work is about, is to trigger that spark in each light worker who is ready to awaken, to bring the gift of service, to share it with the world, which is what this is about. So yeah, you're in the right place, Rosemary.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Okay, Audrey, and then we'll have Kay, my regulars.
Good morning. I'm from Merland, Oregon, and the weather has changed. So I am really happy to, have some drizzles out there, and so I'm really excited about the weather change. But actually, I'm actually very excited to be here as well. I got introduced to Nicolas David through William, and we had worked together doing internship work, collaborating. And what he had, it was like I got so supercharged. It was like, I want that, so here I am, to put myself in couch position. As a senior citizen, I have a lot of experiences, picked up some tools, but I want more. And the bottom line is to be of service. And, there's so many people that need help out there, including ourselves. But, I believe that, this is a place where we're going to get what it is that we're searching for and more. I signed up for the course, and I'm really excited. I got my manuals already ready. And so I'm in, I got my engines revved up, and it's excited to be here. And it's good to see all of you this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Audrey. Okay, Kay.
Well, hello, all of you. And Audrey, thank you. You just said what I was going to say, the whole spiel. And I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about the thought of the program that the ego is running behind the scenes, and bringing that up, and so that doesn't happen anymore. And I'm really relieved to hear that this is going to be a right brain experience. The class will be a right brain experience, because one of the challenges that I've had for a long time is I don't remember jack. I hear people talk, I read things, and and it just doesn't stick. And so that was a concern that, oh my goodness, I have all these numbers to memorize and learn, and that's not the case. And so I'm excited about this for myself, and then how I can bring it out into the world. I am a body worker. I live in Lincoln, Nebraska, in the States. And as you can see, I have a few years under my belt and doing physical work will at some point in time not be feasible, but I've always been interested in the energetic body of people and helping them. People are hungry for this. They're hungry to know themselves. They're hungry to push beyond these barriers that are visible or invisible in their life. And I just really feel like I will become healthier, and that I will be able to be of service and bring it to other people. Thank you.
Thanks, Kay. Yeah, what happens with this work is that there's a sort of limited life in terms of being a body worker, because your body can only do it for so long. And a lot of body workers actually do this, and they find that there's a proportion, higher end, or higher consciousness clients they have always have questions. People say all sorts of things doing massages, and then they have questions, and so people often transition their physical therapy business gradually into this more spiritually based therapy, especially if they're ready to make a change like you are. And a lot of your clients will probably go with you, because you build up a relationship of connection and trust over many years probably, and then you start a whole new practice basically without wearing yourself out. So it does work. It does work, but it will change the practice, because your frequency will rise and other people will feel it. So some clients will drop away, others will stay with you, then more people will come, because those clients that you have now, you do this work, they'll tell other people about it when they realize what this is, how powerful it is. It spreads very fast by word of mouth. So yeah, I had people when I first did this come in and say, here's the money, I want what she had. I don't know what this is, but I want what she had, because it transformed her. So let's go. That's the sort of energy you get off people when you do this. You share this with them. Okay, so this was before the internet, when I first started this in the 90s in London. So, okay, shows you how long I've been around. So who would like to go next? Okay, Ricky.
Hello, everyone, and just want to share. My name is Ricky, and I'm in California, United States, and also experiencing some of that weather change that Audrey mentioned. And but yeah, as far as the reason why I'm here, I didn't really know how to answer that. I was kind of just thinking about it. I'm like, and part of me was thinking, I don't know. But then I started to think about it, like, well, I know I started tuning in because when I first got exposed to your work on the Gaia show with Open Minds, and but just hearing it, just kind of lit a sort of intuitive fire. I just had to learn about it. So I got the book, and I did start doing my own soul contract reading. And I got a little bit overwhelmed by the process, but it was still very insightful. But I guess thinking more about why I'm here personally, I up to now, I guess I would just say I've been living a life of sort of like a unconscious, like not very intentional, and or I guess without purpose as well. Just connecting it back to this, and so I'm just looking to get that connection, get connected to my purpose, why I'm here. And just I guess been feeling a little bit lost, learning to trust my own process and path, and but knowing that this is part of it. That's why I'm really interested in being here and learning more. So I just wanted to share that much, and thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. Yeah, what you describe is what most people go through their entire lives. They're driving in their car, say from Los Angeles to New York at night, no headlights, and no sat nav. Imagine where that's going to take you. And people are living their lives like that, crashing into things all the time. So this work is what we call spiritual sat nav. A friend of mine called it that, where we switch the lights on, we get very clear where the destination is and the most optimal route to get there. And when someone hears that, it slices through all the ego defenses trying to keep us unconscious, to keep us in a place of separation from Great Spirit. And then it gives people confidence because they know it's true. It's the thing that special thing they've been looking for. Then they really get on with it. So their life transforms. So they move to a different reality altogether. Because they know there's no doubt anymore that this is my purpose, and there's a great force of spirit behind it. So they enjoy life and they flow with it. There are obviously challenges. At least they know what they are, where they're coming from, and most importantly, what to do about them. So they progress in life is much faster and more enjoyable when you understand what the challenges are. So no more crashing in the dark, basically. That's what this work does. Okay, so it's a gift for people, because most people give up a lot of people give up after a while because they feel there's nothing. It's just life keeps dropping brown stuff on me and nothing I can do about it. But this is how you avoid being a mushroom. Okay, completely, and you create a completely different life. It takes work and dedication, but it's better than staying in the mushroom box. So, a bit graphic, but that sort of sums it up, really, the difference. Okay, so who's next? Okay, Lynn.
Hi, first of all, hello everyone, and Nicolas, I want to thank you for writing that book. It basically, I was going through some challenging situations in my life, and then I was looking at I was always into spiritual things, and then I heard something about soul contracts, and so I started looking it up online, and your soul contract work popped up. So I did mine. I did members of my family, and it was amazing to me. It was like a light bulb went off that all the challenges and everything I was going through was basically predetermined. So that really basically changed my life. And I've been promoting your book, different spiritual places and groups. The thing is that a lot of people still, they don't believe in it. It's this goes over their head. What is that? That doesn't make any sense. So I guess they have to resonate at the same frequency.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it, Lynn. Yeah, the book's very black and white. You're either ready for it because you're conscious enough, you've done enough work, or you're not. Someone who's not ready will think it's just gobbledygook. It makes no sense to them. On the Amazon listing, it's either 4 or 5 stars or 1 or 2 stars. Nothing in the middle. The guys 4 or 5 stars rave about it because they had your experience. Others will say, I don't understand this at all. This is a waste of space. So it was really interesting. But basically, I figured out, well, initially I thought, this is my life's work and they're not appreciating it. So I felt, oh, this is not a good feeling. But then I realized it's a consciousness issue. They're just not ready. You have to cross the threshold of consciousness to be ready to hear the truth. But often the ego will try and lock people out as long as it can from the truth, because once the truth penetrates through the ego, its game is over. It can't do the stuff it used to do because they can't go back. You can't go back to sleep again, as you guys know. Once you've learnt the truth, that's it. And the ego can't play the games it does with you anymore because you understand what it's doing because you've read your contract. So that's the reason it happens, Lynn. So you just got to leave them be till they're ready, if ever. So.
Right. I don't try to make them. I think one of the things that people don't like to hear is that they want to know that they have karma. That's not pleasant to hear. You have karma. They don't want to believe that. I think that's one of the comments I heard, that they don't believe in karma.
Yeah, well, you coming to Earth, part of the rules and coming in the doors, you've got to have some sort of karma to learn from it. And people avoid it because the ego doesn't want to feel emotional pain. They turn away from it and avoid it in all sorts of ways, like addictions, numbing out, denying what you just said, Lynn, to them when part of them knows it's true, simply because they don't want to feel the pain, but that actually creates more suffering by turning away from it. Whereas the principle is, we're getting back to Robin's initial statement is to turn into the karmic pattern, into the pain, because within there is a gift of service, which most people don't access, but by turning into it and facing the pain, the fear, or whatever negative emotions are in the karmic pattern and physical or spiritual karma, and bringing consciousness to it and transmuting it, what happens then is that turns into the gift of service. So the very place it's the very last place you'd think to look for your gift of service, but that's actually where it is. Karma is actually our training to deliver our gift of service. And we as souls want to go from the negative karmic expression. Doesn't mean it's bad, it's just learning. We choose to separate from Great Spirit in a certain way, but we go from that negative expression gradually progressive to the positive expression of that number. And then that polarized journey is why we are alive. That's why we came. And we will value it. For those of you guys who've worked through a lot of your karma, most of you probably quite a lot of it, you appreciate the lessons from it and you never forget. You don't take anything for granted. And that's the point of karma. It's only learning. That's all. And if someone chooses not to learn, then they get stuck and they'll just stay in it and they'll come back and do it again, which is worse than working on it, actually. If you ask me, why would you want to do the same thing again? It's challenging enough down here as it is. So yeah, the choice is, it's pain and suffering by denying it, or a better life. So it's a clear choice, really. It's just the way humans are built. Every human's built differently, and they'll wake up when they're ready. But at least you had a go, Lynn. Make them aware of it. But only they can come to the water as the horse drinks the water. If someone's not ready, they're going to resist you, because their ego is saying you're a mortal threat to its existence, because it's scared that if the karma's overcome, it'll be dissolved, it'll cease to exist. It's scared of its own death, basically. So
Yeah, some people, I just mentioned it a few times, and some people actually ask, oh, where is that? What is that? So I believe some people are interested. I just put it out there, and then if they want to explore it, it's up to them. So, I'm not trying to force anyone, but I did have a couple of people that really were interested and wanted the link and all of that. So
yeah. Well, it's always an invitation to grow, and if someone accepts it, it's great. If they don't, it's important not to get attached to them growing, because the more attached we are, the more they'll resist. Just the way it works. But if we have no attachment, then they're more likely to grow. So that's quite a hard lesson. That's a very hard lesson for me, because I always wanted everyone to wake up, and I realized some people didn't want to. So now I learned to leave them be, but it took a long time. Who's next? Okay, you got another question?
I have a question. I'm thinking of several very close friends that have had a life that has been pretty filled with trauma,
Yeah.
traumatic experiences, and so they've been doing EMDR, therapies with a therapist. How would this benefit them? How is this of benefit to them?
What, the soul contract work or the EMDR work?
Yes.
Or both? Soul
No,
contract.
soul contract work.
Okay. Within the soul contract work, you'll find the cause of the trauma. It's usually disempowerment. And when we see that, so when we've been very traumatized, I mean, I've been very traumatized as a child. I had post-traumatic stress disorder from childhood. The ego will go and blame someone, want to play the role of the victim. They want to blame my mother in my case. They've spent decades doing it. And once I understood the contract was there, I had a karmic 9, which is the dragon energy being very disempowering. Once I realized, I created all this. Therefore, I've been spending a lot of time learning to own it all. I created the whole thing. I agreed with my mother's soul to play that role because I needed to overcome it. Okay, this is turning into the pattern. And I've been working on it for couple of decades, we're making good progress now. And so in progressively owning the cause of the trauma, it made it a lot easier to clear it. Okay, because when we project and blame on someone else, that means we're not owning it. If we don't own the program and won't turn into it, it's going to stay. We're going to stay stuck in it. But if we let go of the attachment to being a victim and suffering, then it loosens the program up and it's much easier to get it out. That applies to all programs, but especially traumatic programs. So it's about, letting go of the role of, I guess, of being a victim. Very hard role to let go of, because the ego gets lots of secondary gain, gets lots of emotional juice from playing that role. Okay. So clarity on why things have happened means once you understand what's creating it, then you can do something about it. See, that's the beauty of this work. And you can apply whatever other healing tools you have to it once you know exactly what's going on. And therefore, the ego is at a serious disadvantage because you know what it's up to. Okay. And the ego is not the enemy either. It's just set up so we can feel separate from God in a very specific way, which is what the soul contract does. And our job is to gently and lovingly dismantle it and eventually dissolve it. That's how we reach higher consciousness and connect to Great Spirit again, which is why we came. We came to be separate, forget who we are, and then have the visceral, emotional, painful, joyful, and everything in between journey of getting back to Great Spirit. And the soul contract gives you the spiritual map of life for that journey, so you can make it in the most efficient way possible. Okay, does that help? Okay, yeah. Okay, who else would like to share why they're here?
Oh, I know, Will.
Okay, Karen.
I think when you asked that question, I thought, why am I here? When did I sign up for this? What was I thinking? But I think I've probably worked it out now. So I knew that I was here for something right from a young age, but my younger years were filled with my karma. I think I came to see you over 20 years ago when I was still working through my karma. And at that time, you said I was here to be some sort of teacher. And ironically, I found the bits of paper that I took away from that session quite recently. And Lord knows how in my house, because there's paper everywhere and books. But there it was. Like, oh, wow, this is good. And there it was, teacher. And I'm at a stage in my life now, thankfully, hopefully, past all the having paid my karmic debts, to consciously be of service, to use all the experiences that I've had. Now, one of the experiences that I've had was very, very serious disease, where I'm 53 now, but I never expected to live past 35. And so my current plan is I've put together a protocol, a wellness protocol for helping people that are seriously ill, people that have been told they've got 6 months to live, people that have been told that they've got diseases that can't be cured. Now, I've already had 3 case studies where I've reversed conditions that people have been told that they're incurable. And I am not a medical person at all. I have no medical training. I'm just an engineer, but I'm applying engineering logic to the body and my lessons of what I've learned. But most of what I'm applying is physical. So I'm looking at sleep, I'm looking at trauma in the body, and looking at food, things like that. But one of the things I hadn't looked at, and it was a question mark in my mind, was spiritual health. Okay, and so maybe I've ended up here because this might contribute to the spiritual health of anybody that comes my way. My intention is to create what I'm calling a wellness protocol, made up of different modalities. Maybe this will be one of them. I don't know yet.
this work is very powerful for those of you therapists, where you can gain the underlying understanding of what is creating all the stuff, all the symptoms the client is presenting to you. And when you give a reading to a client with this work, and they can own without creating this particular illness, because you can actually track with a soul contract with specific illnesses that are created by specific numbers and situations. Once they can own that, then you're about halfway home, and you're both halfway there to actually sorting it out. Once they can own it, that's when it no longer has such a strong grip on them. So it's bringing consciousness to the pattern behind it, which means then you can gradually dissolve it, and they can get better, even from incurable things. But ultimately, it's all just programs and beliefs and feelings. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's going to be easier than not bringing consciousness to it. And I find my practitioners, because they come from all sorts of backgrounds, therapeutic backgrounds, they use this as a core framework that allows them to target much more specifically their therapies at the right time, because they know exactly what's going on, and the client knows what's going on as well. Therefore, the client builds great trust with clients, because they know that's totally true, Karen. Let's do it, because I'm done with this. And now I know what it is. So it means that the whole therapeutic process accelerates, and people get better, and actually get online with their mission. When you're still here, okay, when you shouldn't have been, probably. Okay, but obviously there was enough consciousness. You brought enough consciousness to what was going on, and that triggered this. What you're doing now to help others through some of the situations. Our best clients, our perfect client is us, because we're an expert in what we went through, and they'll come for that. You see, they'll come for that. And the more consciousness you can bring early on in a therapeutic process, the faster and easier it will be for both of you. Does that help?
Well, yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's how the practitioners tend to integrate it with their existing practice. So it enhances, and it gives you a core framework, and you can build all the other therapeutic processes around it, because you know how they work. You can see specifically how they should be applied and when they are applied, depending on when different parts of someone's contract trigger, because there's 7 aspects of it, but only certain things are running it for a certain amount of time. Like some things may run for a few days or weeks or years, then they'll switch. The soul will switch it to something else, depending on how it wants to actualize the lifetime, how it wants to work through all the patterns in the contract. I'm going through a 4 period at the moment, learning to trust. That's been going on for a couple of months. So the soul's decided to work on that. And previously that it was about 7s, it was about showing myself. So you never quite know what's going to happen when you get up in the morning with the soul. Okay.
Thank you.
Who else would like to share? You can put it in the chat as well, you guys who are not online. No, well, I'll get onto the presentation. I've been talking about a lot of it already. So, Ricky, Airport Way, you're going to say something else?
Just real quick, or maybe we'll see if it needs to be explored. But so if I'm hearing correctly and understanding, so kind of like how you mentioned, like with what you're going through in terms of, I believe you said trust, then it's like you're saying that leaning into that is further opening up further ways to serve, and am I hearing that correctly then, just as an example?
Yeah, it's about the multiple layers of our contract, and so we'll go through phases of one. So I'm going through trust at the moment. That might go on for a few more months. It'll shift to something else, and it might come back next year. It's not as if I missed it the first time, just that a deeper, finer layer of the program will come out. And then leaning into it, as you say, is about bringing consciousness to it. Is the key, because the more I can do that, the quicker I'm going to get through the program, unless it's going to come back next year or whatever. So my attitude, might as well get on with it, because it's going to come up anyway. So why resist it? Although my ego does. I have a very strong ego. It's good at resisting pretty much most things, but I've learned over the years it's not a good idea. But sometimes I don't even realize I'm resisting because it's very sneaky, the ego. It gets us to, it blanks us out in our blind spots. And then you realize I can see what it's been up to now, so let's shift it. I had unworthiness to be loved for months, for weeks actually, and it just numbed me out by having me watch Netflix and Amazon Prime videos. And when I woke up one morning and the program was right up in my field, I could feel it. I cleared it with divine healing, and now it's gone. But it resisted me feeling it for about 2 months. It was such a strong program. When it finally came out, it wasn't a big deal. Just as far as the ego is concerned, it's a big deal. But I don't think it was a big deal after all. So even me, who's doing this for years, it's still our egos are very strong.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay. Any other questions or sharings? No, Mandy, you look like you were going to say something, but maybe you don't have to if you don't want.
I don't have much to say. I'm really just here to learn.
Okay.
I just, anytime I run across something and it just feels like I need to look more into it, I just tend to go that way. So you've got some really great things that you've said. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, thank you. All right. I will go to the Lynn, what to say? Go for it.
Another thing that I've been using is angel numbers. That helps. I believe that helps guide you along, your soul path as well. So like, you see the same numbers over and over again, especially like double numbers, but it could be any number that you see over and over again. I've been noticing those when I look them up, usually on Sacred Scribes, because that's the most accurate. They've been like right on. It's like the number, like the angels like read, of course they read my mind, and then the number appeared. And that's been very helpful to me to see, sometimes it can be like, congratulations. Other times it's like, you need to work on this or work harder on that. So that's been very helpful to me as well.
Yeah, the universe is, the hologram, which is, well, the holographic matrix, which is your external reality. And we think it's just everyone sees the same thing and experiences the same thing. We don't. We're actually radiating from our soul contract out to the matrix, and it's creating everything you just described, your entire reality. It's mirroring to you what you're going through. So it's actually you talking to you. It's the higher self trying to communicate to you through angel numbers and 1111s. I get those a lot, 22, 22 on the clock, all sorts of stuff. Okay, because it's the universe trying to talk to you, get your attention.
Actually, I had the new year, I had this balloon that blew, like, I guess it was for 2022, and it like blew and on my lawn, it was the number 2. I don't know where it came from. And then I looked back out and it was gone. It was really kind of odd.
Yeah, well, it's the higher consciousness part of you talking to you. That's what's happening. So, okay, so let me fill in all things, which I've said a lot of what I was going to say anyway, just by through your questions, but let me talk through the remaining parts. Where's the share? I've got to share the screen here. You asked some good questions, guys. Thanks for your input and sharings. Okay, so we know why you're here now. So I think we've talked about this already. So essentially the karma is containing the gift of service here. Your karma and the karma of your friends and your clients creates the law of opposites. We get everything we don't want initially, so we get clear what we do want. So we're thinking the law of attraction should only attract the good stuff. Well, the good stuff will only come once we work through all the not so good stuff, the hard karmic stuff. And then you get the good stuff coming. Something they don't tell you about down here. but transmute enough of that karma and you get that gift of service coming out in the world. That was one of the biggest things I learned. It took me a long time to get my head around that. That's why people will come. That's why people seek work like this, because they want to know they're seeking this gift of service, but they're also seeking pain relief from the challenge of this. And the two are one and the same thing, paradoxically. So people come for this because they're ready to awaken, because the soul's driving them to that point. And what this work allows you to do is to show them how that holographic matrix is created and give them the top-down picture of how to overcome their karma, which is why they usually come, bring their talents online, turn their dreams into reality. A lot of us have dreams. It's very rare for it to happen. It appears in the matrix, but it's possible. And most importantly, manifest the life purpose. That thing I was looking for my life purpose from a very young age, from early teenager years, and no one could tell me what it was. So, and for those of you not so familiar with the work, and those guys watching it, the way we undertake this work is we take a name and we use 22 ancient Hebrew letters to match the sounds of the name, and we decode them on the Star of David. And this is a gateway of consciousness or coming to Earth. It has two main components. It has a large downward pointing physical triangle, because we are brand new personality expressions every lifetime. Soul is always constant, has many lifetimes. It creates a new personality every time. And so this is how we learn to walk and talk, get conditional responses, get up and running in life. And between the ages of 35 and 42 or younger, that's the sixth cycle of life, we get to the midlife crisis or spiritual awakening, because the spiritual triangle is activating. And that basically is bringing on the mission. It's a spiritual mission, that gift of service. And it's building upon the foundation of the physical triangle. And there's three aspects in each triangle. There's karma, which is the unresolved past life issues we have to overcome and turn to our gifts of service. The talents which help us do it, if it's a good match. And the goals which we'll achieve as the talents get stronger in the physical realm. And then we have here in the spiritual realm. This is how we open to higher consciousness. Spiritual talents helps us do that. Spiritual talents helps us get to the spiritual goals here. And if we consciously work on all this work, on these issues, which you can once you read the book or had a reading, what happens then over time is percentage complete. We work through them, and then they contribute to our soul destiny, the manifestation of our real purpose here, our deepest soul purpose. The manifestation of that makes life very fulfilling if we can get there. And we become aware of it layer by layer as we work through the outer aspects. It's not all shown to us in one go. So, okay. We can demonstrate this briefly. So, who would like a brief reading so I could demonstrate this? Okay, Robin. Okay, yeah, Robin had a hand up first. So
Thank you.
we're gonna do a very brief reading. It's the quickest way to show how it works for some of the guys watching who are not familiar with it. So I'm going to share the screen again. Just got to get back to too many buttons here. There we are. Okay. So this is the soul contract reader.com software we developed to go with the book. So this is web-based software. So what's your name in here, Robin? So what's your birth certificate name, Robin?
Robin Denise Taylor, and my birth certificate name is Robin with an I. Middle name Denise.
Okay. What did you say, Taylor, did you?
Yes, Taylor.
Okay. All right. I won't put your birthday in because of since it's a public video, but what's your birth sign if you're happy to share that?
Sagittarius.
Okay. And you're happy for me to analyze this? Yep.
I'm very happy for you too.
So today is, if you're in North America, it'll show you month, day, year software, but where I'm in Europe, so it won't do that. Okay. So I just enter Robin's name here, and we're going to do this calculation automatically. So this takes about a minute or two. So what we've done briefly here is that the software has taken Robin's name and matched it to the equivalent Hebrew sounds here. There's 22 ancient Hebrew sounds we use, letter sounds, which match the 26 letters of the English alphabet. Some sounds are used multiple times. And in Hebrew, letters, numbers are inherent within them. They're not assigned to them like conventional numerology, they're inherent within them. And we're going to decode these on the Star of David here by simply taking these numbers here and starting at physical karma, allocating them around the Star of David. We use them all up. And then we add the numbers up. Like the total in physical talents is 18. So we have an 18 here. The way we get the 9 is we just go, there's an 18, we just go 1 plus 8 is 9. So it's a frequency of an 18 and a frequency of a 9. So it's called a combination number. So there's a range of experience Robin's here to go through. In the case of physical karma, the total is 41. 41 doesn't have any meaning because the soul of Moses only channeled 22 numbers to Frank Harper. So we have to reduce it to the first number between 1 and 22. So we go 4 plus 1 equals 5. 5 can't reduce anymore because it's a single digit. So we get a double 5, a double number. So it's one frequency that we're working with. So some numbers are double numbers, some are combination numbers. And then what we do it all for all the numbers, and we take the physical numbers, put them on the top half of this table, spiritual numbers, put them on the bottom half, add the 2 columns up, get 64 and 37, and then we reduce those numbers. So 64 becomes 10, 3 plus 7 becomes 10, but we need to get down to a single digit number. 1 plus 0 is 1. So we get a 10, 1, which goes in the middle. And then for the soul destiny, and all these symbols here, these are channel symbols that Frank brought through. These are going to help me say to you, Robin, what you need to hear. So the best way to do this is that ask me the burning question, one burning question you have about your life, the most important one that you're happy to share, and then I'll do my best to answer it and with a short reading here.
My most burning question would be, I've done a lot of work. What's left?
Yeah.
I want to know
what's next, did you say?
Yeah, I want to know what's next.
Well, tell me where you are. What challenge are you facing at the moment? What's the best way to handle this?
The challenge right now is to take a step. It's all spiritual now because as I mentioned, I've done a lot of work. So the challenge now is to take a step to become a service to others because there's been so much that's been about me resolving karma and working through things. And now I feel that nudge to step out and begin to help others. And it makes me feel frozen.
Okay. And what are you doing for work now?
I'm a real estate broker and an instructor. So I'm a teacher by nature of initially education, but now real estate. Okay.
And you'd like to step out of that as well, by the sounds of it.
You said I like to do what with it?
You want to step out of that and transition to being of spiritual service all the time. Is that what you're saying to me?
Probably, and it always includes teaching. I couldn't get away from it if I wanted to. It's innate.
Okay. All right. So in physical karma, 5 here is all about speaking the truth. So is truth really important to you, Robin?
Very.
Yeah.
Big deal.
And was it suppressed as a kid? Were you not allowed to speak the truth in the family?
That's very true.
Yeah. So you've got them both karma.
For it.
You got what?
I got in trouble for it.
Yeah. Other people's egos in the family didn't like the truth, did they? So you're here to, this is about symbolic speech. You're here to speak the absolute cutting edge truth with what you do. You're here to express pioneering knowledge. You're here as a visionary to express that and share that in the world. That's what you're here to do. You're here to use cutting edge tools. Sort of middle of the road spiritual tools will bore you. You'll get bored and annoyed. So you need to be on the cutting edge in everything you do. Does it sound about right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, and you're here to actually hold space with this 19. You're here to hold space. I'm going to jump ahead here. You're here to take spiritual energies, bring them down to the earth plane, and create a physical space out of it, which is why you're a teacher. I think the space then shifted to being houses. We're here to create a physical space for people to come into, for you to disseminate healing and knowledge from the one here, which is Archangel Michael. Healing and knowledge into that space so others can learn about and achieve their goals. Okay. But you're going to do it in a different form now. It's more the spiritual goals. It was education previously, but now it's more spiritual education. Okay, so that's what that's about. And it's for people who are on the right-hand side of the bell curve. People who really want to know the absolute truth. Okay, you've been down here. People less conscious, not so spiritual, but now you're meant to be over here. That'll make your heart sing, Robin. Okay. And you've got a lot of power on the chart here with these nines. This is the dragon. I talked about my disempowered dragon. You got nines and talents. One was in karma. So there's a lot of power in you, isn't there? And
yeah.
Do you feel that you can do whatever you want and no one can stop you if you really want to do it?
I do.
Yeah, well, this is what it is. So you're a lady dragon.
I suppress it to blend in, but at the core of me, that's how I really feel.
Yeah. So there's a lady dragon in here who wants to be unleashed on the world. So you're here to catalyze change, really trigger people to grow. Okay, so you're here to empower people here in the growth process and press all their ego buttons identified in the soul contract. So they're going to pop and they're not going to like you sometimes, but they'll probably come back for more. But you're here to press their buttons.
It's always one or the other. You either absolutely love me or you're like, get away from me.
Yeah, because I can feel Lady Dragon in the room. This is dangerous because I can't do anything about it. She's too powerful and she's going to flame me. That's how they feel unconsciously. You see the reaction sometimes. It's like, that's why they run away. Okay. But that's your job. You don't have to say anything, just by being present. So you're here to work with people who are very powerful and really want to seriously get on with their mission. People who just want to mess around, don't really want to do the work, don't waste your time because they won't last because your dragon will just melt them. Because it'll press on their stuff, and if they don't want to deal with it, then they won't progress. So only the people who are very committed to growth are the people you're here to work with. That's your market niche. And the 18 is about following spirit, learning to follow the path of God for many lifetimes. Follow the path of God. The 9 is the power to help you follow the path of God and complete projects. So you're here to help people finalize decisions, to make a choice to follow the path of God. Okay, this is in a spiritual sense. And the spiritual goals here, the 8s here, you're here to, that's about grounding yourself on earth. This is like a little amoeba forming clear emotional boundaries between you and the world. You're here to ground this power in the world, the spiritual power in the world, so people can access it. Because we can have a lot of power at a soul level, but if it's not in the body, not expressing, then people can't access it. So you're not actually fully manifesting your potential. How's all this sounding so far?
I think I understand.
Yeah. And so the product of all these guys on the outside, soul destiny, is a 10-1. So the 10-1, can I ask, what was your relationship like with your father?
It was very distant And when I was 40, which was almost 3 years ago, I found out that my mother had actually had an affair. So he's not my biological father. So I've found my biological father and we are developing a relationship. But mind you, I'm the youngest of 3. So my parents are still married. So that big family secret was just more kind of recently exposed. And all it did for me was explain the disconnect that I had with my dad growing up. But as I mentioned, my parents are still married. So that's still, for my family, the matriarch and patriarch. And then I kind of have a different dynamic because of the unfolding of the relationship. So
Yeah, so this is about having a
thing going on.
Yeah, this is what this is about. This is this connection from the masculine aspect of God. So this is something which is out of integrity in some form, which basically you discovered who you thought your father wasn't your father. You probably felt it, but now you know. Now you know why. So your real father was a secret. So this is about reconnecting to the divine masculine aspect of God, and our biological and, well, effectively stepfather is how your ego decided to separate from Father God, and your job is to heal that wound. That's the negative context here, to heal that wound and reconnect to the divine masculine aspect of God within you. Okay, so having a relationship with your real biological father is going to be very healing. Very healing.
I already sense it. I sense it.
Yeah. And the 10 is potential manifestation of God. It's bringing the divine masculine and feminine aspects of God together and healing that wound, healing the separation between the two of them. So I think your mother and father probably had a lot of issues when the secret came out. So this is about healing the wound so they connect together again. And this is about you using spiritual energy to be of total service to others, which is what you said at the beginning. So but by working through all these 6 outer aspects, that'll allow you to do that. So everything's on course.
About that?
What's that?
I had a question about it. When I looked at my chart, as I was getting more involved with this work and it was feeling like an answer that I was searching for on my own chart, I started then to feel like I was losing the spiritual intuitiveness and that connection as I was getting closer to the soul contract work. And I was just curious. It kind of looks like some of that is my karma that I'm still working out, or that maybe I have a history of running from. The closer I get, the more I run. But it really wasn't that I desired to run. It was that I wasn't feeling as intuitive or sensing spirit as naturally as I have in the past when I wasn't as tuned in.
Well, this program here, this is the very psychic energy of the 5s. Okay, very psychic, highly intuitive energy. But this 10-1 here, see, soul destiny is like karma until you work through all the others. Works through all these. So the core program of this is the denial of God. So that'll come in waves, which is why you feel the disconnect at times. So part of you is very connected to God. Another part of you is trying to put a barrier up, pushing higher consciousness back at the same time. And it will vary between which bit is stronger. So it can be a little confusing. Part of you feels connected, part of you wants to disconnect all at the same time. And that'll fluctuate the balance. That's why you're feeling that. Because the ego is going, oh no, we can't allow God to come in. Another part of you says, bring it on. I want to embody this, I want to express it. You see, this is why you get the confusion. So it's about allowing as much of this in as possible. And eventually this thing will wear out the more you allow this to come through. It's a very strong program because the soul is wanting to get your mind strong enough so that it's strong enough to not buy into the denial of God. It just wants to embody and express the pure service of Mother, Father, God, which is the whole purpose of this life. So it's perfectly normal what you're experiencing.
Thank you so much.
Does that help?
Very much.
Okay. So everything's on track. You're in the right place.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone got any questions about that? It's just sort of a demo. Thank you, Robin, for bearing your soul there.
Thank you.
No questions? Okay. All right, so that's how it works. I want to find the presentation. Back to this. Let's talk a bit more about this work. Have another drink. Hang on. I think I've said most of this already, but basically, if you use this work in your therapeutic practice or become a soul contract reader, it gives that immediate, profound understanding that slices through the ego and will guide you accurately in working with people and helping them awaken. It builds enormous trust, which means you get faster results because the client realizes this is so accurate, I just want to get on with it. And you're the one they're going to keep coming back to if you're doing healing work on them because you understand how they work better than their mother does. So it's very powerful for that, integrating with your practice. And the transmission of the training will help you understand yourself and everyone else. And we give the transmission of the 22 numbers for 3 days intensively based on everyone in the class's numbers. And we help you open your channel and trust yourself. So we will occupy your mind. But what we're really doing is you're immersed in the transmission, you're becoming it. So it's hard. People who are attracted to this course have those 5s that Robin has and 11 2s. They want the 5s are about wanting to know the absolute truth of life. 11 2s are wanting to know the structure of life, which is the majority of people attracted to this have those. How many of you guys got 11 2s there and 5s? Do you know your charts? Not so many, okay. But essentially, it's experiential learning, bodily transmission, awakening. And we provide ongoing support after the training, especially in the first 6 months is an optional support program to transition you from the learning process and becoming process to actually the practical application of the work. And we have a community of 200 or 300 practitioners who you'll join on Facebook, on a private group. So you'll have a whole new community to play with and to support you. It's basically peer-to-peer support to help you get up and running. And people who receive your readings, which will seem quite normal to you after a while giving them, you'll probably forget how profound they are for people. Brings them deep peace because they hear the truth. A feeling of relief that actually is an order to their life. It's not just some big car crash, which most people think they are. And it allows those who feel like a victim of life to actually take charge and change their lives. That's the most powerful thing about it. It allowed me to change my life. It's very empowering knowing this stuff. So most people are sort of, their soul contracts wanting to take them over here, but actually most people are drifting off way over here and getting lost and having their, going around in the dark in their car with the lights off. You're bringing them, you're aligning them to the flow of their contract. This is their spiritual map of life. You're aligning to their purpose. So life gets more fulfilling and flows more easily. And people can go very deep in their work with you once they align with this. And it enables you to connect deeply as well, because we're talking about absolute truth here with this work. There's no hiding from it. So after the first 3 days where we activate you into the work, we teach you how to hold space, and you spend the last 2 days preparing. We prepare in between the days. And you give and receive readings in the group. We use Zoom breakout rooms. So you get to practice and we supervise and help you. And you'll be surprised at how good your readings are because you realize I had become it. I didn't have to remember all that stuff after all. I'd become the work. So you can start delivering readings soon after the workshop. Obviously, you've got to practice. That's why we have a support program to help you in that practice. So any questions based upon what I just said then? It's sort of a summary of the transformation journey you can go on with this work if you feel drawn to it. Karen? I have to unmute Karen. It's still on mute. Can't hear you.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I don't know if you probably won't remember, but I have two names. My name given to me at birth and then the name given to me at the point of adoption. Which name do you use? Or
Use both. You have a natal chart and an natal birth chart. You have an adopted birth chart. So you've got to read them together. Because the soul deliberately did that. It makes your life more complex because you've got 14 rather than 7 aspects. But that was planned.
yes. Which, in terms of my life now, though, what should I be focusing on? The name that I have now.
No, you'd have to look at a reading of the 2 birth names and of your current name and the different names you use in between to get you to where you are. You have to look at the flow of the work. That's more level 2 work. And in the level 1 training, which is what I'm talking about here, you learn how to give a good birth reading. Level 2, then we look at all the hidden deepest dynamics that create your relationships with everybody and the flow of different names we have you as an individual have used. So that's more like a chronological flow through time. That's what we do in level 2. And that adds another much even richer layer of interpretation on just the birth certificate name, which is what the book does only. So it's a very big question you just asked then. So,
Yeah, sorry.
so that's how you find that out.
Okay,
Mandy?
thank you.
Mandy?
Oh, just to further her question, does that apply if you get married or get married more than once?
Yeah,
And
you
use
look
your
at,
name?
yeah, that applies because your soul has an agreement with all these different individuals you have serious relationships with. And it's the interaction of the energies between all the aspects, which creates the optimal learning experience for you. Some not always pleasant, sometimes joyful, but often challenging. And that's why we often have multiple relationships, multiple marriages, because you go along, you learn enough, and when you've learned enough, the soul goes, okay, I'm done, we learned that, next.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Okay.
I've seen in other healing modalities that oftentimes when you work with someone else, you're also benefiting yourself in some way, whether that be energetically or clearing out your own stuff. I wondered if that applies to this work.
Yes, if you're giving readings, the clients are going to be a mirror for your own development. You might have just worked through an issue in your contract and 3 of the people with the same issue turn up in the following week. So yeah, they're mirrors for you.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Warapon.
Yes, I have a question. So if you read for the newborn child to the mother,
Yes.
and which area you will focus more, because the children of the golden age may not have a lot of heavy karma, and what would be the best to point out area to the mother to nurture them? Yeah.
Well, for newborn children, you learn how to name children so they fit in the family really well in level 2.
But it's already have a new name, already have name.
Yeah, well, if they already have a name, then what you're doing is you're explaining to the parents the potential in the child. And you're showing, especially what is in the karmic issues, so they know how to optimally parent their child rather than, see, most of us parent our kids the way we were parented, which doesn't work very well, as some of you may have discovered. Okay, the last thing they wanted. So it basically allows you to give the parents a clear understanding of how their child works so they can flow with them, with their natural way of being, rather than forcing something on which the parents have been conditioned with unconsciously. So it means it's consciously parenting kids and will turn a lot more balanced and happy because they realize that mum and dad are basically know how I tick and are working with me. Okay, so it's a big difference in parenting. So it's conscious parenting using the work. So whether you're a parent or not, you can still help a parent with that. Because when the parents know exactly what's going on, then if they're conscious, which they probably are, they've got to you, then they'll parent in a completely different way. And that child will feel loved and supported and not forced to do things they don't want to do. Most children are traumatized because the parents are going against their natural flow and they can't help it because they're hardwired that way with their contract.
Yeah, very powerful. Thank you. And I love it because parents become more conscious.
Oh,
They
yeah.
co-create the heaven on earth.
Yeah. We raised our son with this. And he turned out pretty balanced, much more balanced than he would have if we parented him the way we were brought up. So,
Beautiful. Thank you.
yeah. Ricky.
Yeah, just a little more clarification about the names. For example, I guess for myself, I think like from different documents I've seen, there's different variations of my name that I've seen. And then compared to what I've used, like there's what my birth document said, what my social security said, and then like what my parents kind of like raised me with, which I ended up taking on. And then I also have, cultural community. I was just given like a cultural name, a spiritual cultural name that's completely different from what I was given at birth. So for example, would I do charts for the different variations and new name?
With the level 1 training, it's only the name on the birth certificate, which is the primary parental intention. That's the only one you can analyze. That's the one that matters the most, because that's like a cake of your life. It's a core foundation that creates your reality, your holographic matrix, everything you experience for your whole life. All the other names are like layers of icing on the cake. They're overlay names, and level 2 teaches you how that impacts you. And none of those are accidents either, because they help the cake mature and grow in different ways. And so once you've understood the core birth name, all the other layers add richness to your understanding of who you are, why certain things are happening. So it's the names you've used and the different marriages you've had. Okay, all those people are there for a reason, because they will infuse layers of icing into you as well. So it's quite a complex process, but it can be teased apart and understood. And that makes it very rich when you understand what especially relationships are doing and different names are used over time.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. All right. So a few more things then. Let me share the screen. Okay. So if you feel drawn to come, and we'd love to share this with you. There's always the right timing for this. We run the workshop twice a year, and the next one is the 12th to 16th of October. It's done on Zoom. It's four lots of 1.5 hour sessions approximately. So we have breaks. You get 2 20-minute breaks, and you get an hour meal break. We start at 12:30 UK time to 8:30. So the idea of that is for people in California, if you get up a bit earlier, 4:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., but it beats flying. A lot of people used to fly for this. But it means in Europe, okay, it is finishing it, goes from 1:30 to 9:30 p.m. at night. And I can teach them at 8:30 at night. I've tried this, so that's about the maximum I can do. So we try and cover from California out to Poland. Sometimes it goes down to Australia as well, and Asia. So that's for 5 days. Okay. So you bathe in the transmission for 5 days. If you're interested in coming, the cost is £652 or about $850 US. And the deposit is £250 to secure a place, and it's about $325 US. And if you want to find out more, go to soulcontractreadingtraining.com, or you can email me. We've got more questions. You've got my email from the webinar link. So I love doing this because it means that the guys who come and learn feel drawn. You're going to wake up a lot of people, and that's why I was born, to help awaken as many people as possible. So yeah, so hope you enjoyed the webinar. Any final questions on that? Karen?
Thank you. Yes, I noticed you use some software. When we've completed training with you, do we have immediate access to that software?
You can have access now. It's called soulcontractreader.com.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it on the chat. We developed it go with the book. Okay, but it's on the chat there.
Thank you.
You get four free charts from it, and then you can just use the book to figure out people's names, and then it's just a small amount per chart after that. We design it for practitioners, really, you guys, but then we release it to all the book readers as well, because people said, I've done one star, David, but Nicolas, can we just do it automatically? I don't want to do them all by hand, so it was designed to go with the book as well. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, Lynn.
Yes, I was just wondering, so like after you complete training, like what happens next? Like
After the training,
if you
sorry, you want to say?
Oh, yeah, well, what happens next? And also I had another question. I was wondering what your soul destiny number is.
Mine's a 99. I'm a dragon like Robin.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so after the training, the most important thing to do is practice giving readings on as many people as possible. Friends and family are usually going to be more tolerant of your practice. You'll probably be pretty good at it. And then if you're working as a therapist or want to become one, then you can start doing paid readings. So what do you actually do, Lynn? Are you working as a therapist at the moment, or what are you doing?
No, I'm not working as a therapist. I just go to like spiritual groups and talk about all kinds of things.
Yeah, well, you could start giving readings to these guys. Just do it for free initially just to practice, and then start charging. And then so there's a proper energy exchange, and then see how it goes. So the main thing is to actually go out and do it for a while. And we have a support program which can help you if you need support on that. Some people want to go on that. The main thing is to actually share the work in some way, whatever's appropriate for you. And then if you do enough of that, then you'd be able to come on the second level of the training at some stage if you feel drawn to understand the layers of icing of different people's names and relationships. Because what happens is that once you've given someone a birth reading, they'll say, okay, Lynn, I want you to tell me about my entire family. And that's where you say, okay, I'll learn level 2 in 6 months or whenever it is, and I can tell you about them. So people get really excited because they want to know about everything about everyone they know when they realize how accurate this is. Because they're trying to, with the intention usually of creating better relationships with them, not sort of working against the natural flow of people. So that's sort of, does that give you enough structure for moving forward with it? Yeah. Any other questions, guys? No? Okay. Well, thank you for total engagement. I really appreciate that. It's been a fun webinar. And hopefully we see some of you on the training if you feel drawn. And we'll get the video out to you, what's today? Probably later this week it'll go out. And you'll pick up some other things from it. So enjoy. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.